What's up guys, in today's video I'm going to teach you and I'm going to show you how to take indicator data from indicators in MQL5. I realized that I use this a lot in videos, but I've never explained you how to take the data. So how do we take the data from an indicator? First of all, we must know that, as far as I know, there are three types of indicators. The first one being, for example, this red line, which is a moving average. This type of indicator just contains one value, which is, in this case, the value of each dot in the line. If we continue, we can see that we have the MACD indicator, which is another type, but in this case, we have several values. We have the signal value. If I'm not wrong, this is the MACD and the line is the signal, whatever. So we have the signal value, and also we have the MACD. We have several values. For example, in the Bollinger Bands, we have three values, and that's another type of indicators. Finally, we have the indicators which contain values, but those are not lines or things like that. Like, those values are not in every candle. For example, the fractals. You can see that this fractal is here, and is here, and is here, but it is not anywhere else, like it's not here or here, etc. So let's start. How do we take first the moving average indicator data? First of all, you have to go to the IDE, and here we are going to create an expert advisor, a bot basically. So here we are going to call this indicator data, and basically we are going to do a bot that is going to print the data of each indicator. So how do we start with this? You have to know one thing, that each indicator has a handle. So if you want to take the data of an indicator, you need a handle for each indicator. What is a handle? It's just an integer variable. So for example, since we want the simple moving average, the MACD, and the fractals, we need three handles. So for example, we can put this as MAH, and this is going to be the handle of the simple moving average. We can also do this one, which will be MACD, which will be the handle for the MACD indicator. And finally, we can put here the one for the fractals. So we are going to put here fractals. Now that we have the handles, we need to initialize them. How do we initialize them? We can do it in the function on init. So in this function, this function, by the way, is just going to be executed once whenever we start the bot. So that's a great function because it is the perfect time for initializing this kind of values. And how do we initialize this kind of values? You have to know that each indicator usually, always, contains a specific function to get the handle. So for example, let's say that the SMA is equal to, now we put here E, and we put here MA, and here we have indeed the moving average the moving average function that will give you the handle, and also you have the MACD function that will give you the handle. We will use that one later. So we are going to use this one of the moving average, and now we have to put here the symbol name. There are very useful variables such as this one, and this variable, what it means is that it's going to take the current symbol in which the bot is. So for example, if you put the bot in this chart, which is the EUR/USD, it will take the EUR/USD symbol, and it will say, hey, give me the moving average from this symbol. So now we put that, and here we can put again this, and this means that, hey, take the current period. So for example, if we put the bot here, since this is 1 minute, it will calculate everything based in that 1 minute chart. So having that, now we have to put all the information related with the moving average. So for example, here, if we go to the moving average, we can see that here we have a period, a shift, a method which is simple, EMA, etc. And on what do we want to apply this. So all this configuration must be put inside here. So if we check this again, we are seeing that now this is asking for the period. For the shift, we have the 0, and now the method. See, we said that it's going to be simple, so mode SMA, which is simple. If you want it exponential, you have EMA, and if you want it smooth, I think is SMM or something like that. Now, we have to say on what do we want to apply this indicator. So we want to apply it in the price close. And initializing indicators, getting the handles, is very simple. It's always like this. One thing that you can do is check if the indicator was initialized correctly by checking if this is an invalid handle. In this case, what we are going to do is that we are going to print and we are going to say error initializing, oh wow, initializing the moving average. And we are going to go out of the function. So we have now initialized the simple moving average. We have to do the same for the MACD, and what we can do is to put here MACD H is going to be equal to I, and as we saw before, MACD, and now it is more or less the same. So we have to put the symbol, we are going to use the current one, the period, we are going to use also the current one, and now it is asking us for the fast EMA period. If we go to the configuration of the MACD, we can see that here fast EMA period is 12, slow EMA is 26, and MACD simple moving average is 9. So, and it's also applied to the close. So we have to remember these numbers, and now here we have to check that, okay, fast EMA, what was fast EMA? So fast EMA was 12. So now here we put 12. Slow EMA, this was 26. And signal period, which I guess is this one, MACD simple moving average, is 9. So that's it. And finally, we have to put that is applied in the price close. We can take this and put it down here, and yeah, we are finished with the moving up, well, with the MACD. Now we have to do the same for the fractals. So we are going to put here fractals H is equal to, and here we have the function. I recommend you always putting I and then putting the name of the indicator. Usually you will find it. If not, check the documentation of the MQL5. That, by the way, if you select something and you press F1, as you can see here, now we have all the information related this function, and here you have a lot of things, an example, etc. You have too many things. So let's continue, and let's continue with the fractals. So again, we have to put the symbol, then the period, and now it's asking for the time frame. So let me check that. So in order to check that, we come here, we check the property, and it is just checking the time frame. So, well, we don't need anything else then. So if I'm not wrong, yeah, we don't need anything else. So the fractals work in that way. That's cool. And again, we can copy this and here put fractals, and we don't have to forget that here we need to put that. And now it comes one important thing. So we have to create variables, arrays, to store the information. And this is very obvious because since this is a line, you need an array, a vector, to store each value in each candle. So for example, if this is 1.16, you need an array to store 1.16, 1.15, and all that. So for example, since the EMA only has one value, we only need one, the SMA only has one value, we only need one array. And always store that value with double, because the values that you have here are these kind of numbers, which are decimal numbers, and you have to use double. And what we have to do now is to create an array, and here we can put just SMA and like this, and there won't be any issue. But now in the MACD we have two things, so we have to create two arrays. So what we are going to do is that we are going to put here double, and we are going to put MACD because we have the MACD line, and also we are going to put here signal because we have the signal line. Finally, we also have the fractals. And although this, like every candle doesn't contain a fractal, although that we have to create an array to store the fractals. I'm going to tell you now that the fractals are stored usually in this way. So these kind of indicators are stored usually in this way. That, for example, if you have in this candle a fractal, this candle we have a number. In this one also, but in this one that doesn't have a candle, you won't have anything. It will be a 0 in the array. So that's good to know. So now that we know that, we are going to put here double fractals, and this is going to be an array. One thing that you have to do now is to use this function array set as series. Why? Because I don't know why, whenever you store the things in the arrays, if you don't use this function, like the order is very strange. Like it is not intuitive, the order in which this stores the data in the arrays. So I truly recommend you using this because, for example, now if, let's go to the end of this chart, if this is the last candle, which is the, well, if this is the last candle, this one in the array would be the 0. If this is the previous candle, this one in the array will be the 1, then this one the 2, this one the 3, this one the 4. So that is very intuitive and that is very easy to know. So here we have to do that for every array. So we put this and here we put true. So let's do this 4 times more. And here, instead of that, we're going to put MACD, then here signal, and here fractals, and I don't need this one. So now we are truly finished with initializing things. What we need to do now is to store those things. And when should we store those things? At the beginning? No. Every time, on every tick, we can store the information, because as you have seen now here, this simple moving average is changing because the price is changing all the time. So what we can do now is to use the function on tick. So here, if we put this on every tick, we are going to execute whatever we put inside here. And what should we put inside here? We should put the code for storing all the information. So that code is using this function called copy buffer. So here you have to put the handle of the indicator. So for example, we are going to use the handle of the SMA, and now it means it's asking you the buffer num. What does this mean? Remember, we have some types of indicators, and in this indicator, the simple moving average, you have only one value. But in this one, the MACD, you have 2 values. So how do I know which value do I want to take? With the buffer num. If you use the buffer num, for example, 0, you are going to take the MACD. If you use the buffer num, for example, 1, you are going to take the signal line. That's how you specify in indicators that have more than one value, which value do you want. But in indicators that only have one value, you just have to put here 0 because it's the only value that you need. Like always, that whenever you have only one value in an indicator, just put there a 0. Now it is asking us the starting position. What is this? So it means like, hey, from which candle do you want to start taking the data? Do you want to start from the last one? If so, put a 0. Like if you want to take the information in now this candle, you have to put there a 0. If you put a 1, the data, well, you will be starting taking data from here, from this second candle. If you put a 2, you will start taking data from the third one. So remember that if you don't want this one, which is moving, the last one, you can put a 1 and you skip this one. So you will be taking information from here until whatever you put. So we are going to put that we want the last one. And here we need to say now how many do we want to take. So let's say that we want to take 10 values. So we put here 10. And now we put the array on which we want to save that. So now we have to do the same for the other ones, but some things are going to change. For example, now instead of SMA, we want the MACD. And in the MACD things change because we have two values. And how do I know if the 0 is the MACD or the 0 is the signal? You can go here in the handler, like in the function that initializes the handle, and here in the documentation you have it. Like 0 refers to the main line, which is the MACD line, and 1 refers to the signal line. This is truly useful, and that's why I'm telling you that you should read this. So here we put a 0 and we store this then in the MACD. These other things don't change, like it's the same. And we have to do now this thing, MACDH. And here, well, you can use instead of 0 or 1, you can put here main line, and here signal line. But it is exactly the same as if you put here a 0 or a 1. It is the same. It is going to work in the same way. And now for the fractals, since the fractals only have one value, you just have to put a 0. But if you want to check that, you can come here and yeah, we have here 0. Oh, we have two values. It's true. We have the down thing, this down thing, and we have then the upper thing. I forgot. So here, since I was wrong, we haven't put here fractals up and fractals down. I forgot. I totally forgot there. So here we put down, and now we also have to initialize this. So we put here down, and that's it. Now everything will be fine. So now we have to put here fractals H, and we can check again which were the things. So for example, 0 upper line and 1 lower line. So we can say that fractals up, we can use the upper line, and then we have to do the exact same thing. Well, not the exact same thing, but here we have to put fractals down, and if I'm not wrong, lower line. That's it. Now we have all the data that we need, and we just have to print it. So we can do this print, and since we have 5 values, we can put this in this way. And let's say that we put this here. Let me go to the end and copy this. So we are going to put this 5 times, if I'm not wrong, yeah, 5 times. And here we can put, okay, SMA. And since those are 10 values, we can have an issue, but just give me a second and I will put the 10 values. Okay, so I changed this file and now everything is okay. We have spaces and all that. So let's go to the tester strategy. And in order to test this, we just have to take the bot, like the bot that we created, in this case, indicator data. And now we choose the period and all that. And yeah, so we click on start. And here we are seeing the values. So we can check now that the last value is 1.133323. So if we check here this, it's almost the same. Like since this is 19, it doesn't approximate that. But it's here, sorry. 333229. It's almost the same. Here there should be a 3 because this is approximating, like this is putting just, if I'm not wrong, 6 decimals, and here we are putting a lot of decimals, so this is more exact. But we have the values. For example, the MACD, here we have that the last value of the MACD is 000381. So if we come here, MACD value 382, more or less the same because this is approximated up. And if we check the signal, we can see that, well, this number is too small. So the signal, yeah, the number is too small. But for the fractal, you can check one thing, that this number is just representing something very, very, very small, like very close to 0. But here, you don't have a number very close to 0, you have a number 1.1334. So this is the fractal down. If we check this one, 1.1330, this one, yeah, 1.1334, 0. And this one, well, yeah, 13, 34, and we don't have the 0 there. but that's it. That's how you check if the fractal is there, like just checking if the value is above this super minimal value, which is very close to 0 but is not 0. And for the fractal up, we can see that here we have all those very small numbers, and it means that the last 3 candles don't contain a fractal. So let's make this faster and check on one time on which we have a fractal up. In the last third candle, we can check that the fractal up, now in this case, contains a value which is 1.13597, and if we come here, 1.13597, that's the value, but all these ones are very close to 0, which means that here we don't have a fractal. And these ones are all super close to 0, so in this one, and this one, we don't have it. And the same happens for the other ones. So, if you understood how to take indicator data in MQL5, give it a like, share, subscribe, and see you in the next one.